frozen wilderness. Their bodies found scattered, half-dressed, with injuries so bizarre that even experts were left speechless. The tent they left behind was slashed open from the inside. More than 60 years later, nobody truly knows what happened that night. This is the Dyatlov Pass Mystery, one of the greatest unsolved.
It began in late January 1959. 10 students and recent graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute prepared for a skiing expedition into the remote Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. They were strong, well-trained, and adventurous, led by a 23-year-old engineering student named Igor Dyatlov, known for his discipline and leadership. Among the group were skilled athletes, future engineers, and scientists, people used to hardship, cold, and challenge. The trek they planned was not for the faint of heart, a 200-mile ski route through rugged terrain, with sub-zero temperatures and heavy snow. But to them, it was the thrill of exploration and a chance to earn a prestigious certification in mountaineering. The group was cheerful, taking photographs and writing in their diaries along the way. They sang songs, joked with each other, and carefully recorded their progress. But early in the journey, one member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill with joint pain and a heart condition. Reluctantly, he turned back, never knowing that his decision would save his life. The remaining 9 pressed forward into the mountains. Part 2, The Discovery. Weeks later, when the group failed to return, families grew desperate. Search and rescue teams were sent into the mountains. On February 26, 1959, they found the campsite. The scene was chilling. The hiker's tent was discovered half buried in snow, cut open from the inside. Their boots, jackets, and belongings were still neatly arranged inside. It looked as though they had fled in the middle of the night, barefoot into the freezing snow. Temperatures had dropped to 30 degrees. With no proper clothing or shoes, survival was nearly impossible. The search widened. Soon the first bodies were found under a cedar tree nearly a mile from the camp. 2 men lay barefoot in their underwear, their hands badly burned, as if they had tried to claw fire from the wood itself. Nearby, the branches above were broken, suggesting they had climbed desperately, perhaps searching for safety or dry wood. Part 3, The Horror. Over the next weeks, more bodies were discovered. Some had fractured skulls, crushed chests, and broken ribs. One victim was missing her tongue. Yet curiously, there were no external wounds, no signs of blunt trauma from outside. The injuries looked as though enormous pressure had been applied internally, as if they'd been struck by a force beyond human strength. Even stranger, traces of radiation were later found on some of the hikers' clothes. The final bodies, buried deep in a ravine, were dressed in fragments of clothing taken from their dead companions. Their watch stopped ticking at 5:31 a.m., forever freezing the moment of their fate. The official autopsy reports described the deaths as caused by a compelling natural force, but no one could explain what that force was. Part 4, Theories. Theories quickly began to swirl. Some said it was a simple avalanche. Perhaps the group heard snow shifting and panicked, cutting their way out of the tent. But experts argue the slope was too shallow, and no signs of avalanche were ever found. Others suggested military testing. The Ural Mountains were near secret testing grounds. Some believe parachute mines or experimental weapons may have caused panic, fatal injuries, and strange radiation. But if so, why was it all covered up? Another idea: infrasound, a low-frequency sound created by the wind passing over the mountains. Scientists suggest it can cause dizziness, panic, and even hallucinations, forcing the hikers into madness. Yet this does not explain the broken bones or missing tongue. Some whispered about UFOs or encounters with something not human. Strange glowing orbs were reported in the skies that winter by locals. Could they have stumbled upon something they were never meant to see? And then there is the unsettling possibility of paranoia and conflict within the group, a breakdown of trust in the extreme cold and darkness. But the injuries still remain unexplained. Every theory seems to answer one question, but never all of them. Throws a cliffhanger. In the end, the Dyatlov Pass mystery remains unsolved. 9 young hikers went into the mountains, but none returned. Their story is frozen in time, haunting, tragic, and forever shrouded in questions. Was it nature? A storm? An avalanche or the crushing silence of infrasound? Or was it something far darker? A secret the mountains still keep hidden? More than 60 years later, the snow still covers the truth. Tell me in the comments, what do you think happened that night in the Dyatlov Pass?